done after this. Okay. Okay. Some of you, he's checking. Some of you know Mike Blevins here. He's been here before and spoke for us. For those who don't know him, it's Mike Blevins from Sarita. He's with the police department. I want to give him plenty of latitude. You might reach out and grab him. He's also the chaplain for Sarita Police Department. He's been there 17 years. So he's no stranger to most of us, but for those, we are looking for a good lesson from him.
Some of you less of a stranger, huh? Right. Well, my understanding is that your pastor Ken is suffering for Jesus on a cruise right now for his anniversary. So I thank you for the privilege and opportunity to come and visit with you folks. It's been almost 2 years, which means that you've either forgotten, recovered, or forgiven since the last time I was here. So, and I like this little clock right here, and a note from Ken that says, "Beat the Baptists to lunch." So, on that note, we're done. You know, my wife, we were sitting at dinner last night with our 4 children, and we were having Chewy's. Love that restaurant. But my wife was telling me, she's a Midwesterner. How many Midwesterners do we have out here? All right. Then you'll probably relate to this. In high school, her father was relocated to Chandler, Arizona. And so one night they stopped by this place called Pollo Loco Chicken, right? And so these Midwesterns come home and they open up this package and they have chicken and they have rice and they have tortillas. And they all just kind of stare at each other and say, how do we eat this? Has anybody ever had that problem where, you know, you go to a place and you're just not exactly sure of the custom. You're not exactly sure what's expected. And so my wife was kind of giggling as she was kind of telling me this, and you know, knowing the family dynamics, I love my father-in-law, but he says, well, I don't know, I just provided it, eat it, you know. You can just sense that exasperation in his voice about, I don't really know how to do it, but I will tell you now she's adapted and she knows exactly how to eat proper Mexican food, which is good. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever have a trouble or a challenge with understanding what people want from you? You've ever had that struggle? Maybe it's that boss, and you're just like, well, how can I please them? Because they don't seem to be really excited about what I'm doing. Or one day they're like, yay, and the next day they're like, what are you doing? And you're like, well, who am I working for, Jekyll or Hyde? Maybe it might be that parent. What do you expect from me? I'm an adult now. What do you want from me? Maybe it's from a child. When are you leaving the house? That would be one question I might have. That'd be an expectation. When are you going to be a productive member of society? I don't know. How about the spouse? I know for me, the response would be, you should know exactly what I want from you. And if you don't, I'm sorry. But then we get into a tougher question. If we could answer this one question, I believe it would change the way we think, the way we act, the way we live, whether we're in the church or not. And the question is simply this: what does God want from you? What does God want from you? Do you wrestle with maybe what expectations God has for you? Do you wrestle with that? I know I do. Some of us have a picture of this like cosmic killjoy that's really just ready to zap you at the blink of an eye if you do something wrong. We have some people that have this expectation that he might be kind of like this cosmic vending machine that we just throw up prayers to. But what does God really expect of you? When you think about that, you're like, God, and you're home and you're by yourself and you're in this intimacy with God. God, what do you want from me? What do you want from my life? And that may be tough for some of us because maybe he's being silent right now. Maybe tough for others because maybe he's being very, very resounding loud, and it might be something you're not excited about doing. whatever it may be. What we can think about is, are there conditions to what God asks of us? Are there rules that need to be followed? Are there limits to what God has as far as our expectation? You know, some people just think, I really don't know. I don't even want to answer that. And some people don't even care. Some people live their life without God. And they're like, I really don't care if God has any expectations for me. This is my life. It doesn't matter. Well, as I was kind of contemplating what I was going to speak on this week, I knew I was thinking really about doing just a big summary of Leviticus, but that's been overdone. So, so I'm just going to really just focus on two verses, an Old Testament verse and a New Testament verse. Okay, the Old Testament verse is Micah 6:8. So if you have your Bibles, you can turn to Micah 6:8. It's 1,370 in my Bible. I don't know if that helps you, but Micah 6:8 is the. And here's what it says. It's from the minor prophet Micah. He says, "He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Let me read that to you again. "He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God." Now there's a couple things that pop out when I was studying and I was reading this. The first thing is that we really shouldn't relate to God in a ritualistic way. And before you freak out, I'll expand on that in a minute. The second is, it's through obedience and a desire to live this life with God